Today we are going to do The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost. This is from the book Beehive, Standard 9. This is the first part of my video. The Road Not Taken is written by Robert Lee Frost, who was an American poet, and his work was initially published in England before it was published in America. He was one of the most popular and respected American poets of the 20th century. He was born on 26 March 1874 and he died on 29 January 1963. He was applauded with many honors and awards. He was also named Poet Laureate of Vermont. The Road Not Taken was first published in 1916 and when Frost was at his best. And he has implied indirect hidden meanings to the poem. Rhyming ABAAB, the poem has remarkable simplicity and clarity of style and language. The central theme or the idea of the poem is that the road not taken deals with the dilemma that man faces in life. And this is what we are going to see in the entire poem. Because it is an extended metaphor. The two roads serve as an extended metaphor for the choices we make in life. The significance of the title. The title itself tells us the road, that is the path, not taken. That means one path the poet had to leave and had to choose the other path. So the road not taken, the road, is the symbol of the choice that is made by us in life. Many a times we regret the choice made by us, but what is done once cannot be undone. Children, I want you to go through the significance of the title, the theme of the poem, and the introduction of the poem properly. Okay, the two roads described by the poet are the symbols of the challenges and choices that life offers. This is very important. Let us begin with the poem, the first stanza. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood and looked down, one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Before I start with the explanation of the stanza, I want you to go through the difficult words. Diverged means separated. Yellow wood here means the autumn season. Okay. Now two roads diverged. You can see the two roads that are forked, that are diverged in different directions. Yellow wood, you can see the yellow wood here, the dense forest where you can see the yellow leaves, and it is because of the autumn season. Next is the bent. Bent is the curve that the road takes. Okay. It takes a turn. Undergrowth is the dense forest. Now, here the poet is giving the description of the forest. All the leaves have turned yellow. Why? Because it is autumn season. And sorry, I could not travel both. He feels sorry as he is the only traveler. And be one traveler. He is the only traveler. So he feels sorry. Long I stood. What did he do? He stood in one place. He was standing in one place because he cannot travel both the roads, isn't it? So he stood in one place, and what did he do? He looked down as far as he could. And he started deciding. So what did he look down? He bent down to where the road had bent down. He looked beyond the road, where the road was taking a curve, where the road was ending. So he also bent down and he sees the road that ends to the curve. And it leads where? Where the road is leading, it is leading towards in the undergrowth, into the dense forest. So here the poet is standing because he has to decide as to which road he has to go. Okay. So here we can see that the poet is the only traveler who is standing there. And he wants to decide as to which road he has to take. And here the poet has described the forest. Let us see the different literary devices, the poetic devices used in the poem. First, the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme is because of the rhyming words like would, stood, could, isn't it? It becomes A, B, because both doesn't rhyme. A, B, A, B. Okay? So, would, stood, could is rhyming. Both undergrowth are rhyming. That is why the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B. This becomes the rhyme scheme. Next, the poet has created a visual imagery by showing the two diverged roads, the autumn season, that is the yellow flowers. Wood means forest. Okay? The trees in the forest. And he has created a visual, a scene in our mind. Now next he has used metaphor for roads. Roads. Here roads means roads are compared to options that we take in life. Now roads are also an extended metaphor. Why? When you compare two things, the quality of two things, and when it is seen in the entire poem. So when we are comparing two things, it becomes metaphor. When we see the comparison in the entire poem, it becomes an extended metaphor. So that is why it becomes an extended metaphor. So road is compared to the options that we take in life. Next, we can see anaphora. Anaphora is when you begin consecutive sentences with the same words. Now here, line 2, 3 and 4 begin with and. So it becomes anaphora. I hope you have understood this stanza, and the explanation of this stanza is given in my next slide. You can go through the explanation of stanza 1. You can even go through the poetic devices that I have explained, and you can relate to the stanza. You can underline in your textbook, and you can write the poetic devices as well as the difficult words that we have underlined. Next is the explanation of stanza 2. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Now again in this stanza, we come across difficult words. Just means exactly the same. Fair here means as good as the other. Here what is fair? We are comparing two roads. Claim means to prefer something which is preferable. Grassy here means that is unused. People have not walked. Wanted mere means it had not worn out. That means nobody had walked through that road. So in this stanza, the poet says that both the paths were equally good. Just as fair means they both were equally good. And having perhaps the better claim, he felt that this path was better for him. Which path? Which was grassy, which was unused, and which wanted wear. Okay, so he felt that this path was better for him because not many people had walked over it. Poet was quite adventurous. The poet was quite adventurous, so he wanted to walk on the path which was grassy, which wasn't used by other people. He wanted to do something different. Though as for that, the passing there, here he is talking about the path. He started moving on that path, had warned them really about the same. Now what happened? When he walked ahead on that path, first it was grassy. He thought people did not walk on that road. But as he started walking ahead, he felt that it was also worn out. That means people had walked over that path. Similarly in life, we have two choices to make. So we choose one out of them. Sometimes we choose a different path. We don't go by what the other people are doing, isn't it? So we have to accept it and we have to move ahead. But while we move ahead, we come across many pros and cons. We come across many hurdles. We come across many challenges. So we should be able to face those challenges and hurdles in life. And that is why roads are the metaphor. Roads have been symbolized as a metaphor of the options, of the choices that we do in life. Okay, again we will come, let us see the literary devices, the poetic devices. Again the rhyme scheme is same. Again, fair and where, there. Again a, this again becomes a, this again it becomes a, and b claims same. These are rhymings. Again a b, this is the rhyme scheme of the stanza. Then the literary device we come across is wanted where. This becomes the alliteration. Okay, now in this line, in this sentence also we come across alliteration. What is alliteration? Is the repetition of the consonant sound. It can be in two or more consecutive words. Okay, now wanted where, in the next sentence we come across the sound, though, that, the, there. Again it becomes alliteration. I hope you have understood both the stanzas very well, and the explanation of stanza 2 is again given in my next line. The poetic, I go through the explanation of the stanza, mark all the poetic devices of both the stanzas, and I will continue with this poem in my next video, in the part 2 of this video. I hope you have understood it well, and go through the poem and underline all the